Today we're going to make a pretty specialized shoe that you probably wouldn't use in a lot of things other than a forging exercise for going to a WCB event coming up here and Calgary, which is the Salmon Sideweight. It's a shoe that was made by the late great Jay Sharp, and he has left this to torture the rest of us the rest of our lives. It's made out of 9 inches of 1.25 inches by 1/4 inch, which makes it a really deceiving shoe to make because there's a lot of forging. Even though there's not much material, you have to make the sideweight part that has a knockdown in it right where the heel quarter is on the lateral side, and then you put a trailer on there and you draw out the whole medial side. The way I'm going to make this shoe is I'm going to use a cross peen. Probably the thing that makes this shoe so hard is you have to stay on the very, very tip of the horn the whole time you're working the lateral aspect of the shoe. So I marked 2.5 inches from one end and 4 inches from one end. So a center punch mark. This will be the knockdown in between the two sideweight pieces. This will be the heel quarter of the widest part of the shoe, and this will be left alone, and I'll knock it down with the cross peen, and this will represent the beginning of the lateral toe going all the way to the medial heel. This will be all run down. I'm going to make an attempt. This is a really fast shoe. You have to move rather really rapid because you have to build a pair of tongs with it. So the first heat I'm going to bump, and then the second heat I'm going to chisel in my knockdown marks. Alright, let's get to making it. I quenched the shoe down at that 4-inch mark. I'm trying to add material. The whole shoe will probably be about 5/16 more than 1/4 inch after it's all done because of compressing the whole thing on the edge. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my creaser, my cross beam, and I'm going to drop her down on this mark and then just outside of this mark. I'm cutting with the cross beam so I can get down in there without just losing the height of my material. Then, since it's 1/4 inch, it wrinkles real bad. I'm going to take, this is so it doesn't cave that height in. And just get it knocked down in there. So alright, I got my mark. You can see my one mark's right there. And I do it on this side so that this will be the side of the sideweight. I got 2 sides chiseled down. My next heat, I'll make my heel and my trailer and start to bend my quarter around. Alright, I'm going to make my trailer and my heel. I'm pinching off at the side of my hammer as little of material as possible. And I got my head heel forged. Now, I'm going to go back to this side because to forge the lateral side, I got to have a jug handle to hold on to. I'm going to run it down, turn it quickly, and I'll have a loop on this side so I can hold it to where I can do all of that dirty work on the lateral side. I'm going to draw it out. You want to draw it out on all four sides because it's a piece of 1/4 inch. It's going to just buckle. Come up here and blend that outside in. Again, come up here and get that stuff started. And then you come here and knock it down. Take another quick heat. I got the majority of my material run out. Now I'll put a heel on it and wrap it around. Alright, set it down. Put the heel on there. I'm not really concerned with the shape of it at this point as much as I am wanting something to hold on to. Now I'm just going to fix that lateral, which is a nightmare. So I'm going to try and keep the horn in the very small of the divots because I don't want to be back here because these will turn into points. Stay down here. Stay on the end, get that 1/4 started. Come and hold it from the other side, which is pretty unorthodox, and get that toe pushed down. See how that gets a little bit of an arc in there. Keep on switching sides. Now I can hit it from this side. Bringing it back. And then I'm going to takes me 2 heats. Doesn't look like I got much done, but I started to put the heel 1/4 in there. I'll flat all the puckers out of there and give me some width back. And one more heat before I put my fuller in, mark my fuller in. Hold on to it like this. I'll flatten it up. And mark my fuller. Alright, I know from the picture that my fuller end pretty much as soon as the material gets necked down stops, and my heel nail will be pretty much right where the widest part, which is supposed to be where the load valley is. Clean it up. I'm going to try and get a little more shape into it and then finish out my fuller end on the next heat. Come in here and just kind of It's city head fuller end, so it doesn't need to be that wide. It needs to get into the bottom. It's best if you can make this all close to 5/16 so you don't cut through. I got a city head punch, Flatland Forge. Best punch made on the face of the planet. If you like city head punches, which I think they suck. Our man Jim Poor makes the best. Run my edges a little bit. And I like to just, so I get that, just cleaning up those bumps in there. We'll do the other side. All right, I'm going to push all my material over to the other corner and then pull it down. Create a little bit of a blunt quarter there. Go over the edge. Just overlapping blows to get my quarter in there. I got a little bit of much material, so I'm just going to squish this back over to the other side. And again. flatten all this material out. Before I commit to that inside toenail, I want to figure out my width. Am I all right as far as... I'm right at 120. So I think I'm all right to go ahead and mark my toenail. Line up your with the base of the anvil with the other toenail. So I'm going to line up my toenail there. I'm going to come across, balance up my shoe, and then put my other toenail right where it's... Figure out where my heel quarter is, slightly in front of it. Split the difference. It's worth taking the time and not trying to do that all in one heat unless you're sucking eggs and you got to. But for the most part, marking it all out, I'll come to size a lot better. When I plane stamp with a city head, it's best just to drop it about halfway in there. Get a lot of material displaced. Make sure they're not crooked. And then run my edges one more time to kind of make sure everything doesn't look lumpy and chunky. Clean out those frog holes, frog eyes. Go out to the quarter. Just kind of making sure everything's nice and flat. Stamp it one more time. And then drop them in. $120. Alright, this is the shoe all finished up. Didn't really rasp on it. I don't think you'll have time to rasp. I think you put what you're looking for is the quarters across from each other. You're looking for these to not be a point. If you notice in the picture, they're round lumps. So if you get back on the horn, these will turn into points, and this will get really long, and then you won't be able to make a tight quarter bend in it. It's pretty. It's just a complexing shoe to make because once you clean up one side, you go back and forth so many times. Trailer, try and take as little as material off the back end because that will grow, and if you don't get enough, you can always tear a little more off. It's 120 wide. It's punched pretty good, and you know you want to have city head. You keep doctoring on that city head punch until you can get it just right. Mine don't fit just right, but it's still early in the year.
What do you call a boomerang that doesn't come back?
What?
A stick.
Oh yeah.